I've never done this before, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and I think it's time. Okay, so I get asked this question regularly, and the people who are close to me probably already know. And to be honest, it might come as a shock to some people. And I know it's silly, but I need to get it off my chest. I've never had fish and chips before. As you may know, I live in England and the UK, and I get asked this question by a lot of people. But the truth is, I don't like fish. But what is it about fish that I don't like? Well, I don't like the smell or the texture, and some of you might agree with me. But in some cases, I will eat fish. For instance, I love sushi and tuna, and I like seafood, like for instance, octopus, squid, stuff like that. But something about whitefish is just so... But today I'm going to give it a try. Well, why fish and chips specifically? Well, it is the UK's most popular dish, and it's perhaps the most British meal as it evokes a sense of national pride when talking about this simple dish. In fact, it is also said that fish and chips helped win the First World War as it served as a morale booster. I can understand why people ask me about fish and chips. Close to 400 million portions of fish and chips are served every single year just in the UK. Now you can probably imagine how much is eaten all throughout the world. It's estimated that there are over 10.5 thousand fish and chip shops throughout the UK, and it seems that there's one in every single neighborhood here in London. But where did it all begin? Well, the origins of this fish dish can be traced back to the 19th century, where leftovers were being fried and sold to workers in London's East End near the old Billingsgate Fish Market. The market was opened in 1850 and still sits along the Thames. Historically, it was the largest fish market in the world during the Victorian era in the last 100 years. That title is now held by Tsukiji Market in Japan. This market sat in the River Thames for over 100 years, where it was then moved to the area known as the Isle of Dogs in the industrial area of Canary Wharf. But who opened the first fish and chip shop? Well, it's complicated. There's a debate on whether the first fish and chip shop was opened in the north of England or the south. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have two contenders facing off from opposite ends of the island to establish who is the inventor of the British favorite, fish and chips. Was it entrepreneur John Lees in the north in Lancashire, or was it Jewish immigrant Joseph Malin who opened up shop in London's East End? In my opinion, because of the proximity of the historic Billingsgate Fish Market, I'd be more inclined to believe that Joseph Malin is the winner of this match, as his chip shop was the first documented chip shop in the 1860s. To be completely honest, I am a little nervous about eating an entire plate of fish. However, I posed the question to my friends to see which fish I should go for, and unsurprisingly, they said cod. According to seafish.org, cod is the most eaten fish here in the UK by over 60%. However, over the past 10 years, cod had become the topic of discussion as it faced major uncertainty due to overfishing. The oceans were being depleted of this popular fish. In the 90s, cod was overfished to a point where the fish stocks were being exhausted in the North Sea, and unfortunately the Alaskan black cod has yet to recover as stocks plummeted to extremely low levels and are still struggling to return to a sustainable level. However, through efforts made by the fishing industry in cooperation with the Marine Stewardship Council, fish levels have been replenished in the North Sea to a sustainable level and can be eaten. Sustainability is an important conversation to have. It doesn't just affect the fish that end up on our plates. I mean, that's just a small detail of an even larger picture. When numbers start to decline, this means that fishermen are out of work, and no work means tough times. But we're also talking about the overall environmental impact, the ecosystem in which these fish live in, the marine life that also depend on these fish, but we're also talking about the workers on the boats, the workers on land, the distributors, and ultimately the consumers, as in you and me. So while it may be safe to enjoy a plate of fish and chips now, it's important to encourage responsible food sourcing. Responsibly sourced fish is approved by the Marine Stewardship Council. If you would like to support sustainably caught fish in the simplest of ways, you can support businesses that also support sustainably caught fish. Yeah, can I have the cod and chips, just a regular size, please?
Be 1480, please.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm actually a little nervous about this. I've eaten stuff like shrimp and octopus, and I'm not afraid to eat it, but for some reason even just this is kind of freaking me out, but here goes. I feel like it tastes exactly how I thought it would taste like fish, and right now I'm just dousing my chips, or as we say it, fries in America, with some vinegar, and it's really nice. It's funny because I never would have eaten my fries or potatoes and stuff like that with vinegar until I came here to the UK. It's just interesting. It's really nice. I will say that I do like this cod. Maybe I might be a changed man after this. You know, the part that I don't like is actually the tartar sauce. It's too tangy. But would I have this again? I think so. It's funny. It's just I never would have imagined myself actually enjoying white fish like this. But I think it's very meaty, which I like. I've always felt like fish kind of just fell apart very easily, and I don't like that. It's too delicate, but it's pretty nice, and I can also see why cod is a very popular fish. Dropping food everywhere. I first went into this video with the intent of doing something that I had never done before, which is eating fish and chips. However, I feel like I've gained an appreciation for this meal because of its most recent history and how important it is, not just for the ocean, but also for Britons who want to enjoy this meal for generations to come. What about you? Have you ever tried fish and chips? And if you don't like fish, would you ever give it a try? Let me know in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? And one last thing, what would you like for me to talk about next? Until next time, this is History Kitchen. The origins of this fish dish can be traced back to the 19th century, where, hold on, sorry, line. Alright. Hopefully the mic doesn't pick up. This market sat on the River Thames for over 100 years. It's okay. Number 2, take two, everybody. Everybody in places. Quiet on the set, please. Just kidding. Overall environmental impact, the Hey. Oh my gosh, there's so many people.
It's too cheesy.